Welcome, everyone. You've reached Grandma Mo, and we're covering the NCAA. This video, we're going to be covering. I'm going to cover just a couple of games on UCLA. I've been following as much UCLA games as I can, and they're going to cover. Let's see, what games did we have here? Their closest game. I mean, they had the close game with Texas, and they had gotten off to that slow start in that tip-off tournament, but they came roaring back and almost caught Texas. If they didn't start out so slow, I think that would have a different outcome. But I also think that was a wake-up call for UCLA. I think that they are a more well-rounded team this year than they were last year. I really like what I'm seeing from all the players that aren't Lauren Betts. Not that Lauren Betts is fine all by herself, but last year they relied too much on her, and this year it seems much more well-rounded. So I'm going to go over I watched the Oregon UCLA game. This was on the 7th, and they've had two other games that were I think they won by almost 100 points. Some of these teams that are playing, that's why I don't really cover the college game early in the season, because you get these teams that shouldn't be on the court together. But you have to fill your schedule, I guess. So just going over the Oregon game, it's surprising that Oregon is 10-1. Oregon actually has a better record than UCLA does. But when you put them together, different story. Anyway, UCLA ended up winning 80-59, so that is a 21-point victory. UCLA went ahead 19-8 in the first, then 30-18 in the second, and then the last two quarters, UCLA was just cruising and outscored them 16-14, and then Oregon outscored them 19-15 in the final quarter to kind of cut into that a little bit. So Oregon had they only had three players in double figures, which when you only score 59 points, that isn't, you're not going to get too much of that. They had Jacobs with 11, Katie Fiso with 14, and I don't know how to say her name, Utit. She also had 14. Ari Long and Sophia Bell had 5 and 6 points. Sarah Rambus had 4 points. And then a couple other players had a hoop or two. That's pretty much it for Oregon. They were out of it, they were pretty much out of it by halftime. But it's really hard to go up against a team like UCLA. They're very, very tall. All of them are very tall and agile and very good shooters. You have Neepkins, who, as far as I know, last I checked, she had some of the best shooting percentage in Division I. So this very strong start for Lauren Betts. And this was also, I believe, was this the game? No, Sienna Betts played. She started her season in the next game after this one, so I'm going to cover that. Lauren Betts had 24 points. It was just get the ball inside and up she goes. She's a very strong move to the hoop. I wish she would just. I was talking about this. I do a weekly podcast that we just started up again called Discussions from the East Coast to the West Coast with my friend Lisa D from CT. Anyway, and we were talking about Asia Wilson. And the thing that separates Asia Wilson, and, if you look at Nafisa Collar, she does the same thing, but Nafisa Collar is only 6'1". Asia Wilson is 6'4", 6'5". And so she's a solid 5. Not Fee is really a 3 or 4. Anyway, the one thing that separates her is she has that 5 to 7 foot little fadeaway jumper. And it's impossible to stop when you're that tall and you can have that shot. And she's just a senior in college, but if Lauren Betts can learn to do that, she gets the ball sometimes and the only thing in her head is bounce and go to the hoop. instead of just turning and just take the little jumper. Just practice it, 1,000 times. Get the ball, post up, turn around, shoot. Post up, turn around, shoot. That little 3, 5, 7 foot jumper. She'd be unstoppable instead of trying to force it in to the hoop. She's forcing it in. So that's something. If Lauren Betts can learn to do that, boy oh boy, she'll be a force. Like I'm seeing Dominic Malonga. Whoo boy, I can't wait to see her sophomore season. Anyway, looking at the other scores, Kiki Rice, 7 points for her. Jaquez had 8 points. Neepkins, 17 points. She's such a pretty shot. Very pretty shot. Ledger Walker, she only had 2 points, but she had 8 assists and 10 rebounds. Lauren Betts also had 14 rebounds. So, just nice all-around game. And then Dugalak, 5 points. She had 9 rebounds. Muse, who comes in, she's really tall. I have to look how tall she is. She's probably 6'4", 6'5". She seems really tall when she's in there. And then Billick, 13 points for her. So that rounds out the game for UCLA. Another good game for them. So that's the Oregon game. And then you had, just tonight, they played Long Beach State, and they won 106-44. I haven't watched that game yet, so I'm going to do another video on that one. But you have the other game I wanted to go over. Oh, it was Cal Poly. That was the one I was talking about. They beat Cal Poly 115-28. Every single UCLA player starter was in double figures. You have Betts with 20. Ledger Walker had 14. Neepkins had 19. Kiki Rice, good game for her, 23 points. And Jaquez had 14. Just crazy. I was watching Corey Close, and she was thankful to Long Beach State for agreeing to play them. She said because a lot of other teams don't want to play. You don't want to play the 4th-ranked team in the country. If you're just an average, Division I school, you're gonna get killed, and that's what happened here. I mean, Cal Poly had such a hard time scoring. It was the passes intercepted, the steals. It was, I don't even know how much there was, but I was feeling bad for Cal Poly. I don't even know how you, their coach. Let me see if it. They were saying their coach is a former WNBA player, and I recognized her, but I wasn't exactly sure. It's harder when people get older. You can't really. Yeah, Cal Poly didn't have one player in double figures. One player at 8 points. Everybody else is 2, 3, 1, 4. Yeah, it was a real struggle for them. I was feeling bad for them. And, it's not like they were pressing or anything like that. It was just one team way outmatching the other. But the reason I wanted to bring this game up is Sienna Betts, Lauren Betts' younger sister, finally got to play. And she scored her first points, so that was cool for her. That was... Lauren Betts seemed very proud of her sister and happy for her, so that was cool. And then she had 5 points. She missed her free throws. She needs to work on her free throws. She missed like half of her. No, wait a minute. It was more than half of her free throws. So yeah, she's got to work on that. But it's first game back, so we'll let it slide. Dukalak had 8 points in this one. Billick had 6. Let's see. And then they have, and they still don't even have Gardner back yet. When the season gets going, it's going to be really interesting to see how UCLA holds up in the tougher competition, and because I mean, I watched them all last year, and they look more like a well-rounded team this year than they were last year. So, because they relied too much on Lauren Betts last year, and you always have that, but they have other options this year. Not that they didn't last year, but there's more. It appears more this year. So, that's a couple of games from UCLA. I'm gonna do the next. I'm gonna have a look at the Long Beach State game, and they got Ohio State coming up on December 28th. That'll be their next game, and then Penn State. We used to play Penn State when I was playing in. I played for the University of Rhode Island in the '80s, and we were in the Atlantic 10, which Rhode Island is still in the Atlantic 10, but it looked a whole lot different when I was playing. We had Penn State, Rutgers, Temple, West Virginia, St. Joe's, Duquesne, UMass. Who else? I don't know. But I looked at the Atlantic 10. It doesn't look anything like that anymore. There's the top 25 teams. I mean, Rutgers, when we played them, won the national championship when it was still the AIAW. So that was fun going up against them. Anyway, so I'm going to go over some UConn games, and you're having the same situation with UConn. They're beating people they played Iowa today, and it wasn't such a great thing for Iowa, but UConn just keeps rolling. So anyway, I'm going to do a video on a couple of UConn games and cover their players a little bit. So anyway, that's it for this one, and we'll see you next time.